Alright, we are back with another Kagurabachi. With today's video, we're going to be jumping into chapter 25 and 26. And although there isn't that much that happens in terms of the big fights, it is leading up to something important, which is the Rakuzachi, or the big auction that the villains are putting on. So, without further ado, let's just jump straight into this. We're talking about the Sazanami family and how they're at the residence, they're at the estate, and a big brawl ensues. There's the brothers that get invited to help sort of defend the head of the family, which is Kura. And there's a big brawl. They use command shockwaves to fight. And so it's a little bit of a different, I guess, style than we're used to in terms of fighting for Kagurabachi, because it's usually just magic. This is more shock command waves, so you get to see a little bit of a difference in terms of fighting technique here. What I love about this, though, is Kura's power is the storehouse. So he's able to put things into a storehouse that he controls, and he's able to pull things away from it as well. So as they're fighting, one of the brothers says, "Hey, I need more swords," you know, Chihiro's kicking my butt, and so what happens is he sends him dual blades, and I think that was really sick. Honestly, an overpowered ability, the more you think about it, is just having that infinite storage space. What I love about the continuation of this fight, though, is definitely there's lots of action here. And you get to see, I guess, the stakes be raised a little bit, because what happens is, in the chaos of, you know, Chihiro fighting the Sazanami family by himself, the fourth brother of the Sazanami family is going after Hakuri and trying to find his brother. And so Shiba is trying to defend him, and you get a continuation where Shiba is able to grab him and send him to the storehouse. So Shiba, based on what we're basically presented here, it has some sort of teleportation ability or something of that nature. I don't know the conditions of it yet. I'm sure they're going to explain it going forward, but even the head was like, wow, that's a ability that is very powerful, and he even takes note of that. So continuing on with this story, you get a really good moment with Hakuri and Chihiro, where they end up basically stalemating Kura, and Kura is able to pull in, as you learn, he's able to pull Hakuri to the storehouse. So at first he banished him, but then he teleported him to the residence because he's registered under the family name in the storehouse. So the way his powers work is if it's registered under their name, he's able to pull from it, which is an interesting concept, because usually you do that with objects, but the fact that he's able to do it with people as well as his own family, that's some interesting detail there. And so we have like this standoff, and unfortunately Chihiro decides that, you know, to save Hakuri, because he still values Hakuri, Shiba tries to bluff. Shiba's like, "Kill him, please." But Chihiro's like, "No, I'll give you my enchanted blade for Hakuri's life." So they do the trade, they manage to escape, but in the process they lose the enchanted blade. Now, you think this would be the part of the story where they're at their lowest, that Chihiro had just given up his blade, and now they have to go retrieve it again. And this time they're going with the full force of the Sazanami family attacking them. But that's not the case here. Instead, Chihiro actually planned something. So apparently they mentioned a little detail that he learned from the Sojo fight, where Sojo and his when he was fighting that that government agency, that group, I'm blanking on their names, but when he was wiping them out, he apparently was able to supercharge the enchanted blade that he was having, Cloud Yager, and activate it remotely, which is an insane ability. So Chihiro's like, well, I just thought if I did the same thing with mine, I was able to sort of activate the goldfish. And then you learn that the goldfish are actually just a manifestation of his spirit power, which is also a really cool detail to know. And so whenever you see goldfish, and it kind of explains why you were seeing all these fight sequences starting off with these goldfish, like going in and all these goons are looking over, like all these henchmen, and they're looking at it like, why is there a goldfish here? Well, it's apparently Chihiro's been using it for recon to survey the area before he like decimates everyone. So it's a cool little detail there. So when you go later into the chapter, I think this is in chapter 26, you learn that Chihiro's plan is that he's going to use the goldfish to use recon to sort of scope out the area and basically ambush them and get the upper hand. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes there, but you know, Kura is a pretty good villain, so he already knows something is up because he looks at Chihiro, he's like, I saw your eyes, you weren't, you know, the eyes of defeat. It looks like you had something up your sleeve. And he's like, like, knowing that you're gonna take this bet, I'm gonna meet you and we're gonna fight the same way. And aside from like that, because that covers just the main bulk of these last two chapters, you get a little bit of a funny moment with at the beginning of chapter 26 with Hyuki and Tafuku, which are, if you don't know who they were there was the psycho chick and then the barrier dude that Chihiro fought when they wanted to take the sword away from him. And it was funny because they were talking and they're like, oh yeah, because Chihiro didn't give up the sword. He actually fought them to basically a stalemate where he was able to retreat because he didn't want to give them the sword. And they learned that the sword's up for auction. So like, wait, what's Chihiro planning? Is it for money? I thought that was really funny. So aside from that, there's just it's just more build up for the auction. We are getting the start of the auction. We now have the official date and time. And so I believe we're going to get a pretty amazing action sequence in the next coming chapters. And I'm excited to see where the story goes from here. It's interesting because the way I looked at this story is it was very clear cut that the sorcerers were the villains. They were the higher ups, you know, the top three quote unquote main villains of the story that Chihiro would have to defeat to get the swords back. But the more, or the katanas back, I should say, but the more that the story progresses, the more it becomes a little bit more convoluted. You bring in different players, like for example, Sojo you thought was in charge of the auction. Nope, it was the Sazanami family, and they also have a sword, so where do the sorcerers play into that? The Sazanami family definitely, you know, has ties with the sorcerers. I just want to see where this roadmap will lead and where all the dots connect. That's my thing going forward. So overall, really good chapter. I won't say it's the best. It's not too exciting. We get a minor action sequence, but for the most part, it is set up to something amazing. So I can't fault it for that because you do need some build up sometimes. So aside from that, I think this is a pretty good chapter. And yeah, I think going forward, Kagurabachi is just going to get more insane. And now, depending on how this climax ends up happening, we can start finally rating these arcs. And I'm excited to see that because it will dictate, I guess, the lifespan of Kagurabachi, whether it's gonna like land it, you know, stick the landing with this one, or if it's gonna start going downhill in quality. But I have faith it's gonna turn out to be really good. They're introducing more, you know, different techniques and such, so it's just, you know, up for grabs at this point. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to sort of cover Kagurabachi and talk about it. There's not that much that goes on, but you know, I'm excited for the next 2 weeks because you know, we're having a great development with Hakuri and his sort of internal and external struggle with the family, as well as Chihiro's commitment to not only get revenge but also help the people around him. So I love that, and I also like that, you know, Chihiro's not just an edgelord, you know, that's just kind of refreshing, and I'm kind of glad we didn't go completely down that route. He still has a heart, and I do appreciate that. And yeah, that's pretty much it, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How did you guys feel about this chapter? Are you excited to see, you know, the the Rakuzachi in action, you know, the whole action and such? Just let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.